Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. So last year, I got a subscription to Guitar Aficionado. They went defunct. They went out of business, and they started sending me Guitar Worlds. So I got this Guitar World in the mail, and somehow Jack White was okay with them making him look like a porcelain doll. Well, that's his prerogative. Anyway, so I started reading one of these reviews, and it really made me laugh and think about why I hate product reviews and why they're so disingenuous. First of all, this is Guitar World. They make their money from advertisements. Here we can see on the back page, Dunlop, can I see that at all? Is advertising the yellow Tortex. By the page, a bare knuckle. Pickups is advertising. I mean, every other page. Audix is advertising. I mean, this is how they make their money. Here's an advertisement from Fender. And here's a review advertisement for Paul Reed Smith on the Silver Sky. Now, let me just explain to you why I think this is silly. I'm just going to read a couple of excerpts from it. If Goldilocks were a guitarist instead of Porridge and Bed Aficionado, she would find the PRS Silver Sky just right. Oh, really? It's just right? Is that right? From the second I picked it up, it felt absolutely perfect, from the overall weight to how the neck cradled in my left-hand palm and seemingly begged me to play. Folks, this is not a review. This is pandering. This is somebody who's trying to sell you the instrument. They pay a lot of money, and then they have a guy write this review here. In this particular article, I believe his name is Chris Gill. Well, now, they might call me on bullshit and be like, "No, that's a real review." Great, let me show you how this is a real review. Hey, how many of you guys played this guitar? 10 of you? Who liked it? Chris, you loved it? All right, you write the review. It doesn't matter who writes the review. It doesn't matter who picks up the guitar and loves it. It doesn't mean anything to you or me if that we're going to like it. This thing obviously fit his hand. Well, I play 1 3/4 nut widths. That's what I like. So is it going to fit my hand? Probably not. All I need to do is read the specs. I don't need some jackass to sit there and bloviate the whole thing like, "Oh, this is the ultimate 62, here it is. To me, this is the ultimate circa 62, 63 neck, coaxing, expressive singing tones similar to a unique and particular sweet vintage Strat I once had the privilege of playing." What a shitbag. I mean, oh, really? The 3 pickups sounds like a Strat? Oh, that is unique. That's I wonder how that is. Oh, it feels like a 62, 63 neck. My God, that's just like what John Mayer said in one of the ads I read about this thing. It's like all they're doing is here's your bullet points, use them in the thing, and make a ridiculous sounding review. You don't see bad reviews in these types of magazines because the magazine is taking money from the people whose product they're reviewing. Therefore, it doesn't make financial sense to take a dump on them.
Hey, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I got spare time.
That being said, this is basically just an advertisement for PRS. PRS makes a quality product. They do. I mean, I've never owned a PRS, but I used to sell a hell of a lot of them. And they're great playing guitars, and the fit and finish is awesome. If you want to know how the guitar is going to play, read the specs. If you can't read the specs and know what you like, and you need somebody else to sit there and be like, "Oh, this was like butter," and then they start using like the words like, "Oh, she sings so great," and everything about her, my fingers danced, and I got to make all these like, you know, poetic terms. It's you might want to quit the instrument and start reading Harlequin novels, because that's really what this thing is. It's like somebody that's trying to like really romance the bullet points that PRS gave them. They're basically romancing it, and yeah, it's And it's basically the same thing when you watch pedal reviews online. When you go online and you see product reviews or pedal reviews, and these pedals are being given to guys, and they're reviewing them to make them sound good and to tell you the good things about them. They're not going to take a pedal from somebody and then call it crap and send it back to the company and have the company pay them and be like, hey, thanks for shitting on us. So the whole thing is kind of disingenuous. Here on my channel, I'm not taking any money from anybody. It's just, so I'm not interested in giving you guys a BS review of stuff. So when I talk about stuff, it's stuff that I paid for and that I like. And not that that matters either, because I sit there and I talk about, like, here's the Strat. I bought the body on eBay. I bought the pickups. And the brush steel pickguard. The neck I got from Warmouth with stainless steel frets. You can see that it's a big V-neck. If you don't like V, and it's also 1 3/4 nut width. And if you don't like 1 3/4 nut width, and you don't like a fat V-neck, you're going to hold this in your hand and go, this thing's terrible. If you like those things, you're going to pick it up and go, this thing's great. If you've never played a 1 3/4 nut width on a Strat with a V-neck, you might pick it up and go, wow, this is something very cool and different. Or you may hate it. The only person that's going to know that is you. The only aspect that I can tell you is I'm very happy with it, and I love it, but that's my flavor. But Warmouth makes a great product. So if you don't like the 1 3/4, but you know you love 1 5/8, you know you love a shallow C-neck, you know you love the jumbo stainless steel frets, then you can go order from Warmouth, because Warmouth, I'm telling you, makes quality products. It doesn't mean you have to love what I love. And me reviewing my shit doesn't mean that you're going to sit there and go, oh, Dave likes it and Dave plays like this, so I'm going to do what Dave does. That would be stupid, because, I mean, I have my heroes, and you know, they like certain things and they believe certain things that I don't like, believe, or whatever. And when it comes to pickups, I see there are guys online who compare pickup sounds, and sometimes I'll tell people the pickups that I use, and I tell you the pickups I use so you can either go out and try them or just so you know. But for me to go through each position and show you, I could tell you right now, no matter what pickups I'm using, when I plug it into my amp, I'm going to dial in a great sound. And that's what I like to do. Now the pickups, because I'm going to dial in that great sound, you don't know that maybe I'm tweaking, maybe if I'm using a noiseless pickup that I don't care for, like a Duncan, well, then I'm jacking the treble to make it sound more like that Fender. There are things that I do to compensate. You know, it's funny to me because people will play something and be like, yeah, I like it. I could do a gig with it, but I would just wish it were brighter. Yeah, you see that thing on your amp called treble? Turn it up, asshole. Because you can do that. So the thing with me is the pickups that I have, they're like my starting point of the sound that I love. But you could take any pickup and sound great through it. It doesn't matter. It's so if I'm going online, I'm going to compare one pickup to another pickup. I could dial it in to make whichever one I want sound better. I could easily do it. I can basically sit there and, like, I've seen a guy do it with the area pickups versus the Lindy Fralin. And I've played both sets of pickups, and I like the Lindy Fralins a lot. They're fucking noisy. All right? So when you stop playing anything heavy, it's noisy. And I don't like that. And in fact, I love the way they sound, and I hate the noise. So what does this guy do in the video? He avoids the fact of showing you the noise and doing that, and he's just showing you the sounds. Now, he could very easily just dial his amp in to make the thing sound great with the Lindy Fralin pickups, then stop. Now I'm going to compare both pickups. Here's the Lindy Fralins, which the amp he set up to sound great with them, and here's the DiMarzio pickups that he didn't set up or make any adjustments to. So the amp settings are both the same, the guitar settings, you know, it's like, oh, really? And because of that, it's like it's also disingenuous. They're both going to sound great depending on what you're going to. If you're going to play clean and you're a clean player and you want to use the Lindy Fralins versus the DiMarzio, at that point I would say The single coils are probably going to be a little bit more revealing and a little bit more clear and pick up a little bit more every little tiny nuance. And I'm talking very little. Whereas the DiMarzio area pickup might not have quite that sensitivity as a true single coil, but it's close. Because of that, that might be, if you're playing clean, that could be something that makes you decide that that's what you like. I can't make that decision for you, and these assholes in these magazines shouldn't be making it for you either. This is completely nonsense. There was something else I thought was funny. It says it had a 5-blade pickup, so you can get all 3 pickup sounds and the in-between, those great in-between sounds. Oh, did PRS figure that by themselves out? Or fucking they realized the 1977 on Fender's Strats have been doing that? You know, it's like, oh, geez. It's just silly. It's absolutely silly. You know, I have a Mustang amp. It's a Fender Mustang 2 version 2, which they've discontinued. And you might ask yourself, why did they discontinue it? Because it was good. And they think they're going to improve on it. And then they think they know the audience. And what they do is they make a G40 or whatever it's called, the Mustang G40, whatever. And it's like, now instead of controlling it from your computer, you can do it from your phone. I have something else now that can drain my battery. That's awesome. God forbid I try to make a damn phone call using my phone, because now my tuner's in my phone. I got my amp controls in my phone. I'm looking at pornography through my phone. It's just great. Thank you. So a friend of mine, who's probably watching this, tells me he wants to start doing some stuff, and I tell him about my amp. And I say, make sure you get my amp. And the guy at Guitar Center tells him, no, the newer one's better, get this, it does everything. He got it, and the next day he had to bring it back. It's terrible. Vox did the same thing for a while with their, they had that modeling amp, the V, I can't remember what, I even have one, the VT, whatever it is. And then the next year, they started adding more features to it and ruined it. What was an easy amp has now become the learning curve of not worth it. Yeah, here's a $100 modeling amp that sounds great, except you need to read the Sears catalog of directions to figure out how to change the reverb. What happened on the dial? That used to be good. That's why these magazines are dying and why Guitar Aficionado is dying. You know, it's a very cool thing. Guitar Aficionado is very cool. In fact, I bought the magazine to look at the ads. It's kind of like Cigar Aficionado in that same vein of high-end companies advertising and showing some of the toys that, you know, that are nice, that you don't see every day, that you're not going to see going into Guitar Center trying to sell to the beginner or the family. It was nice. And it went by the wayside. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like when you read these reviews and whatnot, you realize that you're just reading the dogma of the company that makes this stuff. You know, I'd love for one of these people. You know, you're never going to see in this magazine, like, here's something about Taylor, you know, the new Taylor thing. And I'm sure, I haven't even read it because brace yourself. Here's it received the Platinum Award. What a shock. Wait a minute, a company that spends tens of thousands a month on advertisement got a Platinum Award? Why, that is ironic. That is odd. That's a mystery. Oh, here are then it tells you the features. Yeah. Paul Riario, who wrote this article, is basically just doing the copy work for Taylor. Taylor's like, yeah, here's all the information on it. Make sure you throw in a lot of this stuff. And here he is right here. While some of you might find this revelation somewhat banal, keep in mind that advancements in acoustic guitar bracing patterns have almost been non-existent in the last 100 years. Oh my God. Anyways, regardless of good reviews, or if you go online and people who are, I love people who are branded, they are the brand whores that it's a brand, you know, if they, and it's so funny because it happens in the gun world too. Like people are like, people love Glocks, and then they're the people that hate the Glocks and they can't do anything right. And the reality is Glock makes a great gun. And do they make the best gun? I don't know. They're great for what they are. They're pretty great. But so a ton of, I mean, but Sig Sauer 226 is also a great gun. And the Beretta 92 FS is a great gun. And there's so many, and the 1911 is I mean, there's just so many great things that they can all be good. You don't have to sit there and be like, well, I only use Kimber. You know, and that's how some people are. It's like you have the Gibson guys and the Fender guys, and they're like, I like Fender. Gibson, you know, I like Gibsons. Fenders are just bolt-ons, and they both make great guitars. They both can be good. There's plenty of records that have shown that both guitars are great. I mean, Jimmy Page was my idol, and here he is using Tellys and Strats on records too. It doesn't matter. There's so much good, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But these reviews suck. The people out there that are reviewing stuff, and it's funny, there are one or two, you know, I will say Lance Keltner made a great pedal review of the, and not really a review, because he just played it. And he was Mike Nice, and it was of the Jetter, Brad Jetter's Indigo Fuzz. So I bought it. Doesn't sound as good as when he played it. And again, I don't know what pickups he was using. It's a lot less gain, but I love it. And sometimes if I push the AC booster in front of it with a little bit of a clean boost on top of it, it breaks up great. But is it exactly what Lance was selling when he played his? No. It sounds much different through my rig. And not to his fault, because I loved his video. And I love my pedal. I would never get rid of it. But it's different. And I'm sure you can even tell me in the comments how many times you've watched a pedal review or watched somebody demo a pedal and buy it, and then were like, this is nothing like I heard of that guy playing it. And, you know, that happened with me with a couple of pedals. So I bought the full tone pedal, the Secret Freak. And it's supposed to be that secret mid-tone boost frequency to give you that Boston tone. Yeah, it sucks. It's not good. For me. Doesn't sound right for me. Doesn't play right for me. I don't like it. And then there was also the OCD by Full Tone. I hear people play it. They sound great. When I hear it, I'm like, oh, what is that? Oh, you got, oh, that's the new version too? Went out and got it. Doesn't sound like that for me. And that's another thing, is when you're playing a pedal or you're playing pickups, there's the way the thing responds to you that the audience isn't or doesn't have any clue. They just hear the end result tone. So if you don't like the way it plays, then it's no good for you. Because everything's somewhat in the ballpark. You know, you can get something else that's going to sound like I'll give you an example. People go nuts over the Prince of Tone and the King of Tone by Analog Band. I've heard the pedal. I've played the pedal many times through a friend of mine's rig, and I have to tell you, I don't think anything of that pedal. I would never I wouldn't give anybody $50 for it. And some people are paying like $200-300, you know, depending on the King of Tone, and they wait for them. They're on a waiting list. I wouldn't give $50 for it. And in the same thing, the Boiling Point by Rockbox, it's a $200 pedal, is it's great. It sounds awesome. It responds great. It feels good with a compressor in front of it. It responds great with a Timmy after it. It is so nice and reacts so nice that I love it. Am I going to tell you to go out and buy it? No, because you might hate it, and I don't care. But I'm just telling you, I like it. So anyways, that's my thoughts on product reviews. I think they're for shit. Do I still watch them? I mean, I do watch more product demos, but with a grain of salt. I mean, unless I'm looking for something and then I have to sit and take into effect, well, how would that sound through my rig? Especially like if I'm watching a guy play it with humbuckers, and I play strats more often with a single coil. And like it's a little, obviously, less pushed. So, there's that. You know, anyways, I also want to say I bought the Bombastortion from Jeff Coleman, which is what Steve Lukather uses through his Bogners. And Luke plays, and God, if I could only sound like Steve Lukather. But I don't like the sound of that pedal. In fact, I think the Angry Charlie sounds better, the version 2. And again, they made a version 3. Is version 3 better? I don't think so. I like the version 2. So that's that. Still dealing with my leg, my calf, like it was swollen from when I pulled it. So still dealing with that, dealing with this limp. And that's about it. No new toys. I got a bunch of gigs. I got 4 gigs coming up this weekend. I got one on Thursday, one on Friday. That's a wedding with the full band. Saturday afternoon, I'm playing a motorcycle run with the blues rock band. And then Saturday night, doing the acoustic thing. And then I have lessons all week, so it's a busy week. Anyways, I got to get out of here for now. Very good.
I'm gonna shame that crazy bitch on YouTube.
Mr. Blutowski. 0.0.
You're right on target. Right on the money. Everything you said. You hit the nail right on the head with your comments, what you're saying today. You're 150% correct.